just been doing a bit of stuff with users recently, and adding a few new features to it. So adding some filters to them to allow you to, well, we already had search, but now you can do sort by email or name, display enabled, and if I disable one, that would make more sense, wouldn't it? So we wipe out the disabled guy, or we see only the disabled guy. But the one that's particularly useful for me is roles. So you can now filter on particular roles, which is really useful when you're managing a lot of kind of front-end users and you just want to work with them. Or you can get all the administrators, or you can get people that are in no roles, which is kind of the equivalent of the authenticated role, but it's not a role that's kind of seen and visual in the database. And they're extendable as well, so you can write your own driver if you've got your own indexes for custom properties that you're adding to the user object. You can add them into the filters bar here, so that in the same way that on the contents list we can add custom ones in for taxonomies and cultures and all the other bits and pieces that you might want to filter your users on. So that's it. Nice quick demo.
Feature request.
Yes.
Feature request, the best feature ever. I'm kind of happy with some ideas I have. So the idea here is build a parser. And you know how to build a parser, I know. Build a parser that will parse the same format as GitHub issue search text box, which is free text plus metadata like tag colon foo, roles colon bar, minus plus, things like this, that you can type in the search box you have here right now, and that is model binded directly with the drop downs you have on the right, and that you also pass at the top here as in the search. Instead of the different metadata options at the top, you could pass directly the search text, and it will be parsed into this metadata that you have and bound to your dropdowns in a bidirectional way. So when you change the dropdown, it changes the text in the text box, and you can copy paste that as a link like GitHub, actually. And you make a reusable parser because then we want that in every page where we have a search with order and everything.
Like when you go to issues here and you start filtering here.
Yes. And then it changes the search, you see? And the same way, if you change the search, it changes the URL and it changes the dropdown and everything. So it's like it's bound. The URL, the search text box, and the UI is bound, so you can independently change the three of them, share the link, and use the same language everywhere in every screen. They will have different
reasonable feature request.
They will have a different set of tags of metadata. Like here, it's is and issues and author. Like on users, it will be roles, user, disabled or enabled. But maybe on with items, it might be published with a full text also, and then, I don't know, sort by, things like this. Might be interesting.
Yeah, I guess we just want to take some of the options names here and crunch them in terms of to come up with the right kind of syntax, you know.
Yeah, if we had a reusable parser in this case, in every controller that expects some sorting and filtering, we could just say, hey, parse this format and give me the property named sort and give me the property name that and so on. So the same way I would do today with enums, but it will be just strings. That's it. We could just, if we could even say parse this property as this enum, and you will get the order by all the published slash draft slash wire that we have today in the enums.
Yeah, would make a lot of sense. And get us to the point where we could possibly start using Lucene in here, which would be.
Yeah, we don't. I'm not sure we want to do that because we don't want to Lucenize everything and then distributed error. Might be an issue to depend on that, to have that dependent. Because here it works today, we don't have Lucene there. We just do, you know, like we said, the full text is based on the name of the users, and that's good. I mean, if you want to, we can say that this screen here, when we set a full text, it will use Lucene because the parser/binding doesn't care about what you do with the text. It just gives you a search for about, okay? And then if you want to do a Lucene search, you can. If you want to do a text search, you can.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, something like that would only be an option. Sounds like a reasonable feature request. I shall see about putting it.
It's a fun one. It's one that we like to implement.
Cool. There was one other fun one with this one actually, which I was. So nice. This is an interesting thing because we have a reduced index for the user by role, which is so it maintains a count of the role name and the number of people that are in the role. But for people that are in no roles, there's no records in the database in that reduced index table for them. So it's an interesting trick to be able to filter on that.
But we could, no, don't we? If we index that, can't we index a no role?
Well, no, because no roles is the absence of roles. Like there's no button that I can click here with the.
But when we index, I mean.
So potentially when we index, we could have done something like that, but we don't currently. And I didn't want to try and introduce another index. So we actually do a little bit of custom SQL here. We're able to use a subselect at the end of things to say that if the user isn't in a role, do the join on this reduce index table and see that the join doesn't work, essentially.
If you update the existing index, won't it be updated when you save the user, for instance?
But what would I put in the index?
I mean, the current index.
Because there's no way to record the absence of something in an index.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
I mean,
can you open the index? Index provider.
Not helpful.
Here, map user by role index. What do you get here? You get a user, okay? So you can get its roles. And
yeah,
when
so
there is
the role names there.
Okay, and here is select new user role name index, blah blah blah. User by role name index, role name here, role name normalized. So there is no role, that's what you say, because the select is empty. So here, user.rolenames.select map, you need to check if user.rolenames equals 0, you return something. Otherwise, you return that. And the role name you can put no role, and that works. I'm right. You can do
that. Yeah, no, that could work. It does mean changing the behavior of what's actually in the index.
Yeah, I mean, it will add a new record automatically. The next time you save a user that doesn't have a role, it will update the index for this user. If you want to be thorough with the migration, you need to save every user in the database, or you just say, well, this feature doesn't work for you if you have all the users until they are saved, and then you will be able to filter by them.
Yeah, I think the second option is probably better there.
Okay. So just to know that we can do that, we can index on
so we can do that, yeah.
Things. Thank you.
That's good. I like my little solution here. Cool.
Thank you.